May we have a group photo, please? Our next session, I invite Ms. Gurleen Kaur, Senior Marine People Manager, Maersk Fleet Management, to moderate our next session on synergizing seafarers, training for inclusive maritime excellence.
Shall I do the honors of inviting them? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Great audience, and I know it's the last session, and everybody would be waiting for their tea. In the interest of time and also to keep you all engaged, I will quickly call on the panelists. Mr. Manish Pradhan, Dr. Dipti, Ms. Nyari, Ms. Parnita, and Captain Ashutosh. They don't need any introduction, but if you want to look at their introduction, please scan the QR code so that we can save some time. Hello, hello. Start with the big man. Okay. All right. Synergizing seafarers, training for inclusive maritime excellence. We've heard a lot about inclusivity, diversity, and we all know it's not just the buzzword. In order to ensure that we have this amazing panel over here and we give them some good time to hear their perspective, I did not go into introduction, and they also don't need any introduction. But here, the main question, what we are really looking at, answering or maybe finding some more answer to it, have we adequately prepared our seafarers to embrace and implement inclusivity on board ships? I would like to emphasize on the word seafarers so that we are mindful that we are gender neutral over here. When we talk about safety and inclusivity on board, it impacts both male as well as female. And our panelists over here understand that, and we would like to stick to the concept that we are here for our seafarers, the training, what we need to do for our seafarers so that we can have a more inclusive environment on board. So without wasting any further time, I would start maybe with Parnita. And this is a common question for all of you, just to start and give your perspective. What does inclusivity on board ships mean to you?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, thank you, MU and Saleha, for giving me this opportunity. So, as we are in the maritime industry, we all know this is a dynamic industry. And this industry needs a lot of nurturing on inclusiveness. Yeah. On inclusiveness. And we need to have a proficient seafarers in our industry. So for me, inclusion, when I'm dealing with this topic of inclusion, often I encounter 3 points. The first point, I see the concept of inclusion itself. Because the concept of inclusion is being seen in 2 ways. The first way is market-driven inclusion. And second way is a deeper thought that we need inclusive seafarers because we need to develop this industry based on the capabilities and capacities of the seafarers. So the second thought, which is a deeper thought, will create a whole change because of the intentions and the impact it will create to this concept of inclusion. Second, I would also want to reflect upon the second point, that is the biases which we carry. The biases can be conscious, it can be unconscious, or it can be structural biases which is based more on the policies and process. If we are today thinking about inclusion, we need to have a policies which are gender neutral, culture neutral, and we need to focus on the minorities, and we need to provide them the platform to explore. Thirdly, I would like to also focus upon the demographics, because all of us, when we are working on board or ashore at sea, somewhere we do carry a cultural baggage, and that changes the whole cultural dynamic on board. So we as a seafarer, we as an organization stakeholder, we need to focus on inclusion from all these three perspectives when we are training, when we are speaking about the point of inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Parnita, for this. Mr. Pradhan.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Captain Pradhan, Madam Saleha, thanks for having us here. Well, I'd just like to start a little differently, that, okay, we are talking a lot about diversity, inclusion. 10 years, even 10 years back, when we would attend seminars to do with shipping or seafarers, it used to be only men in the room, all right? And most people would just say, good afternoon, gentlemen, or whatever. And then we had the one odd woman coming in, and then the speaker was mindful of saying, good afternoon, lady and gentlemen. We've moved from there to here, all right? So this is proof enough of the fact that we're moving in the right direction. The ball has set rolling. It's just about how happy are we with the pace, and is it qualitative enough or not? Well, having said that, for me, inclusion would mean availability of learning opportunities to people irrespective of their background, ability, and identity. And as Gurleen said, I would like to keep it gender neutral. So we've almost reached the tipping point. We're starting to tip over to the other side, and we're actually starting to make women feel uncomfortable at times, I feel, by talking too much about it. And unfortunately, I feel that, yes, there is a lot of talking, but we still need to pace up on the implementation. So I think that will come in the later part of the discussion, I presume. But I think we've moved well. We're moving in the right direction. The guiding light should be, we should always learn from other industries. And if we look at the airline industry, today India leads the pack with the highest percentage of lady pilots. So I think the global average is close to 5%, and India is at 15%. So there is nothing that's stopping women in maritime to achieve what they've set off to do. It's just that we're still not a profession of choice. I'm sorry if I'm hurting somebody here. But most of us got in here by default, or by luck or chance or something. We didn't choose to be here. Many of us, I would say. So having said that, yes, for me, this is inclusion. Yes, I'm wearing the MASA hat also here, and I think there's a lot of things that we can do, and we are already kind of discussing on the drawing board of how we're going to take this forward, how we're going to make training in every facet of training, starting from bite-sized learning to using AI in a positive way. There's a lot of it coming, and it's just that we need to be ready for the change. I do see a little bit of resistance to change in our industry because, we've actually we think things are cast in stone, but I'd like to say they're not. I read this very interesting book, and I'm not an agent of Marshall Goldsmith, but I will urge you to read it. It says, what got you here will not get you there. If you want to get there, you want to beat that 15%, you want to be a global standard, you want to be a leading force for women seafarers in the world, we need to do something different. So the first thing I'd like to just throw open here is, please be ready to change. Please be ready to adapt. It's a different world when you're dealing with millennials. It's a different world when you're dealing with women seafarers.
Thank you so much. And I think the conversation is already getting interested when you mentioned about the airline industry. Best practices, I think that's where we need to move. Actionable goals, points where we can actually do something about it and maybe present a result in a year's time. How many of us have gone and actually sat with the Indian Navy, with the airlines to understand what is it that they are doing different? So thank you for bringing that, and we'll come to it. But Dipti, maybe you can go next.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Pradhan. Thank you, Saleha, for having me here. Yeah, since morning I'm attending, though my session was the last one. But Captain Pradhan said you have to come since morning. So I'm sitting and I was listening to every panel. And I think a lot has been spoken already about equity, about equality, about all of that. And yes, when we come and talk about inclusion, so I was trying to think, what does it mean to me? Because Gurleen asked me, Dipti, what if I ask you, what does inclusion mean to you? So I was thinking about it for quite some time, and then I sat with the paper and pen to write it down, pencil rather. Maybe this is my thought, maybe will not resonate with all. But I feel that when we talk about inclusivity, for me, it has to be a personal value. It has to be a value which we carry forward. And so for me, having the courage to embrace what may not be familiar to you and the courage to embrace differences, that is an important personal value for me. So anything which is unfamiliar to you and you're ready to take that up because you want to take it up, that is where I think we talk about mindsets. So inclusion is not just, I don't know why we are only specifically talking about women seafarers. There are a lot of women working ashore. There are a lot of women who have not been from the marine. In fact, just to share with you when you talk about inclusion, I think shipping industry and companies are very inclusive. Giving you one simple example, once I had to take a session with the HRs of company, and when I asked them, and we were all sitting in a session, I said, why do you want to have it? The answer I got was they're all MBAs from good institutes, but none of them were from shipping background. None of them knew what shipping is all about. But they were the ones who are going to be handling next of kin communication. They were the ones who are going to be handling, talking to seafarers on board. So there was a gap there as well. So the company has taken the best HR because they have a degree, MBA in HR. But the point is, to acquaint and adapt them to the shipping comes handy when you're ready to learn, you're ready to understand what seafaring is all about. So empathy, how does empathy come? It'll come if you understand what the person is doing on ship. So I asked them a simple question during the session, and I told them, okay, do you know what is mooring, or do you know what are the accidents which can take place on ship? Or do you know what are the difficulties seafarers face? So the answers which came, like any commoner would answer. So the fact here is when we talk about inclusivity, I feel it is about embracing the differences, understanding how the seafarers are actually doing their profession, how are they carrying it forward, but it applies to both. We need an inclusive environment on shore, and we need an inclusive environment on board. And just to sum up, it's not only about gender. Why are we talking only about gender? I fail to understand that. And then gender also, we are very specific. Male, female, woman, and this. But the fact is, though the gender sensitization courses have come up mandatory, there will soon be a revision because now we have to include the other gender as well. Nobody's talking about that. So why are we only bifurcating to male, female? I fail to understand. Because inclusivity is not only about gender. Long time back also in sailing days, I'm sure who have sailed earlier, discrimination when there were only men on board still was taking place. Groupism was still taking place. Discrimination, racial discrimination, rank discrimination, hierarchical dispute, all was still there. It was there, even the men have faced it. So why only talk about women facing problems? It is seafarers, like she rightly said. Let's keep it gender neutral. Inclusivity would mean embracing everyone who's involved in the work process, and it should be a collaborative effort to achieve something which you've gone out to achieve. So that's what I think. Thank you.
That was a very nice way of summing it up, Dipti. And I'm really taking this point, embracing the change. With this, I'll hand over to you, Captain Ashutosh. You are taking care of our young budding talents, but what does it mean to you? What does inclusivity on board ship mean to you? Because you're training the next generation to climb up the ladder.
First of all, thank you, MUI, for calling us here. A lot of things have been said, and rightly said by Pradhan sir and Dipti madam. So I, being from a training background, I'll go back to drawing board, and I'll see what is the definition of inclusivity. Now the definition is making sure everyone means it does not mean any gender. That means everyone is welcomed, valued, and respected. Whether they come from any background, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, and gender. So if these three values are embedded into the next generation, that you welcome, value, and respect everyone, I think a lot of challenges of this gender sensitization or gender disparity will automatically vanish. So going back to basics, I feel if that is followed, the inclusivity will have its own meaning and people will not have to be taught or tutored about this. So that's what I feel, and this is what we are doing at TS Rahman, telling them not gender specific, not I'll say male, female, sex specific. It is gender. And the real meaning of gender, obviously, as madam said, the gender sensitization course is there and it is very well drafted. But if you take the essence of it, definitely you will understand what the course is trying to say. And now when it is again getting revised, I think more information will come out which will be specific to the profession. Thank you.
I think that's really well said. Taking just that we don't forget, so I'm continuing to highlight best practices from other industry, embracing the change, going back to the drawing board, because sometimes what happens is we get on a revolution, yes, we will do this, we will launch this, we will get onto this, but unfortunately, we forget what was the scope. Why did we start this discussion in the first place? Why are we having this discussion? So very important point to keep revisiting, going back to the definition, going back to why did we start this, why is it important? With this, I'll hand it over to Nyari to give her perspective.
First of all, thanks, Saleha, for having me here. I think, Gurleen, maybe I might sound a bit eccentric, but I have a very profound sense of inclusivity. So the other day, I was watching a video by Simon Sinek, who also happens to be an author and is a very renowned motivational speaker. And he talks about this amazing idea of servant leadership. And he went over to ask the US Navy SEALs that how are they able to produce best of the best year on year? How do they manage to get the best of the best? And it may sound very funny, but what the Navy SEALs actually are being looked at for is, I may be able to trust you with my life, but can I trust you with my wife? So the point that I'm trying to say is character. They focus so much on the character that you are when you are not in your professional regime, who you are when there's nobody looking at you. And if I were to just open the floor and maybe ask, ex-legendary seafarers, we all go back to our first sailing experiences, and this is how we begin. You know what? My first ship was like hell. The chief engineer made me slog, or the captain made me clean the toilets, or I was made to work with shit for the entire 6 months. That's how we all begin, A lot of time, men have told me that, why are you always talking about the difficulties? Our lives have always been difficult. The irony is, we feel so proud of it, We feel so proud that we have been through the grill, and now I am this world-famous, blue-eyed seafarer or a chief engineer or a master of this company. Why? At the end, when we are working for human beings, why are we so proud of this atrocious environment on board? And if we come to inclusivity, it is commensurate with sensitization. And by sensitization, I mean sensitization of character, that at the end of the day, it may be a mechanical world, but you are dealing with human beings. There are hearts involved, and there's not just brain and muscles and bones. So if I were to just divide it, let's say, into two genders for now, to keep it simple, you know, we have men and women. So in terms of sensitization, and I would like to bring my perspective as a seafarer plus an author who's read and done a lot of research, and this topic is very close to my heart. For men and women, you know, we have all been raised in a certain way. You know, this is a patriarchal setup, and we've all grown up with certain kind of values that our parents or the society has somewhere imbibed into us. Now, it's time that when we are trying to sensitize women, it's not just that we tell them that, oh, you can go on board the ships. No, it starts from the fact that who decided that the daughter must be placed into the other home? Who decided that? I don't agree to it. Who decided that the child's surname must include the father's surname? Who decides this? I am not party to it. It's important that women question what doesn't resonate with them. First, it's so important to understand that there is a problem. You have to question. A lot of us don't even realize that this is a problem. Invariably, the entire societal setup has been made to suit one gender. Why? It takes a lot of guts. It needs a lot of risk to, you know, the rules change, the laws changed. Why does it that a married woman has to stand at the passport office and get her surname changed? Because it's so convenient. I had a friend from the northern part of India. Usually from the southern India, we've seen that people have very longer names. And I was just very curious that how do you have such a long name? He said, I put my entire, you know, my father's name after he passed away. And my immediate question was, would you do the same? Would you do the same if your mother passed away? And he didn't have an answer for that. It is just so imbibed into us. Now, on the other side, we have men, you know. Now, sensitizing men has always been so much about, you know, that, oh, you're talking about women who have to come on board, and, you know, you're talking about a history. That's our history is maybe just 15 years or 10 years when the room was full of men. That's all. Against the entire human history of maybe 2 lakh years and a professional legacy of maybe 500 years. You know, I believe that I belong professionally to a legacy that was started by Columbus or Vasco da Gama, you know, crazy seafarers. And here I am being told that, okay, you have to be sensitive to women who are now coming on board. That's not the only thing that you have to be sensitive about. You can also ask and question that, you know, when you are in trouble, when you are in problems, you can cry, you can vent out. You don't have to be the breadwinner. If patriarchy has damaged us, they have damaged men equally. Now, it may sound very, very irrelevant in terms of, you know, going on ships, but I can tell you, if we start from here in the shipping, in the training institutes, it's going to make a huge impact onto their way of looking at things, into their perspective of when they come on board. I have been able to break so many ices because I let men be vulnerable. Be okay with a second engineer who's a female, and it's okay, you can cry, you just lost your father. It's okay. So, I mean...
that's the reason why we have a diverse panel over here. And the key point that I take from Nyari's perspective is sensitization of character. And yes, it's a very different perspective, unique perspective, but she's also trying to help to get into the grassroots where we start training. And just on a lighter note, luckily I didn't have to change the surname. We didn't even want to have this discussion. It was my name, so I just kept it. So it also depends on individual to individual, where, yes, you got married. We don't have the time to go and change all the documents. So I was born Gurleen Kaur Dheer. I will die Gurleen Kaur Dheer. All right, with that, I think I will move on to the reason for asking everybody for the perspective was that when we ask the next round of questions, we will look at asking to get some concrete points or solutions out of it so that we don't keep it very generic. We would like to keep it close-ended. So I'll start with you, Parnita. what support system are in place for students who may face discrimination or inclusivity issues during their training or career? So basically, what support systems are in place? And I know there could be a lot what your company is doing. Maybe you can highlight top 3.
So, as Priyanka said in the morning, we have a well-being department which takes care of the seafarers. Apart from that, I'll talk about the training center and academy where I'm located. So, in order to not get into any discrimination or problem of inclusivity, we induct the cadets about all the anti-harassment, anti-ragging, and grievance cell, etc. But this is a major thing, but what we do on almost quarterly basis or in our day-to-day behaviors, because day-to-day behaviors matters a lot to bring up this inclusion. So one, what we try to do about gender sensitization training, I gone through the syllabus, but I'm making the topic more gender neutral, because when we are talking about the women's health, we need to also consider the men's health with whom we are going to collaborate and work together with. So we cannot only talk about a women menstrual cycles, but we can also talk about a men's hormonal imbalances which can also happen and which can also impact at times at the workplace. So the problem is that when you're working together, you need to know about each other physically, psychologically, age-wise, culturally, everything. So inclusion comes there. Second, we hold various symposiums in our colleges, wherein we talk about diversity, we talk about inclusion, we debate on gender, we debate on cultural awareness, all these things. So that creates somewhere impact. Recently, we have started the Intra-Fest in academy, where is named Manthan, which is culture-based event, because we see in India only there are different cultures, so people have to get familiar with each other so that they start respecting the different nationalities also. So in Manthan we have quizzes, we have debates, we have symposiums again, we have sports, which is also a culture-based sports. The dance, the music, everything is culture-based. So somewhere that empathy, that collaboration, that fascination and creativity for different cultures, genders, everything will come in line. So inclusion for me is a collaboration of everything: mind, brain, intellect, culture. So all these support we are giving. Apart from that, I'm the psychologist in training center as well as academy, so they can approach me anytime if they are facing some discrimination. We have a human element committee, human factors committee, which is managed by cadets, headed by me. So even if, so there are 20 cadets in the committee where they look after their peers. If anybody is facing discrimination, anybody is facing some problem, trouble, they get to know about each other. They try to counsel each other. If they think that that counseling is not working, they report to me with the consent, or they convince the cadet who is little bit facing discrimination, or feeling the face of feeling that they are facing some discrimination. We do openly talk about it and try to clarify, because sometimes the discrimination is not there, the faulty belief system, which we all carry some kind of a baggage, which comes up. So these small steps every day will build up the feeling of, inclusivity, and minus the lack of inclusion or discrimination feeling. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this. Sorry, in the interest of time, I'm going to be quick with the others. Maybe we'll stick to one point. So I'll go to you, Captain Ashutosh. We've been inducting, we've seen a lot of women being hired in TS Rahman. Maybe you can talk about one challenge that you face with regards to training these young minds with regards to sensitization and ensuring there's a consistency till the time they pass out and go on board. So what is it, that one unique thing that you're doing at TS Rahman, which you can share with all of us?
First of all, just to inform everyone, a lot of women seafarers who are in officers course, but nobody thought of having the women seafarers in rating. So that was a unique step we took in July 2023. And we started the preparation in January. And the very first thing that came to my mind was the girl, when she comes for the first time in campus, she will be facing not the principal, not the faculty or anyone else, but the security person who will be on the gate. And if he is not sensitized, then I don't think so till the time she comes up, her experience will not be good. So the very first thing we did was, though the DG Shipping said the gender sensitization program is for the faculty and students, we did this program for the entire campus. There are 410 people, and everyone was taken into confidence, and then they were told that this is what we are heading to, and this is how the environment will be made conducive for the girls to come. Many challenges, but this was one which was very important we did. One more thing I want to mention, of course, we had to sensitize the parents also. So we've been right from north to south, east to west, going to somewhere close to around 58 schools, addressed some 3,500 students, and finally out of that, we got first batch of women in rating in July 2023. And two important conditions were there where we wanted to make sure to make the environment conducive. They require the job, and they require, because these were coming from Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, they require a financial assistance. So on this panel, there was one person whom I contacted, Gurleen from Maersk, and the job was taken care of. And right in front of me is Captain Pradhan, who just on one call told me, if there's a girl who gets selected, but financially she cannot, take care of her fees, and if they can produce certain documents, we'll be the first one to help. And believe me, out of the 20 girls, there were some 9-10 girls who had the problem, and MUI paid 8 lakh rupees for them. So a big round of applause for MUI. So that's how the training is happening, but one point, the entire campus needs to be sensitized. It's not just the faculties and a certain group of people. So that's
Thank you so much. I'll go to you, sir. One initiative, what we can expect from MASA, because we have all the giants under one roof, which maybe we can expect you guys to announce with regards to this particular area of training.
Okay, can't announce anything, right? I can't do that. But for me, just to add to what I've been listening is, the key problem, what I see and what many of us discuss is lack of respect. Any harassment, bullying, any kind of misconduct happens only when you do not respect the person you're dealing with. So, and to put it very simply, I think we're all, Captain Apankar is doing a great job with getting the trainees to be trained, how to conduct themselves on board. But I think the previous panel, they spoke about training the seniors also. On a ship, typically, sometimes you could have 2 to 3 generations on board. You could have a 60-year-old master, you could have a 40-year-old chief officer, and you could have a 20-year-old cadet. Completely different mindsets, And it's just that when we get on board, we lose respect. That guy could be as old as my son. Do I treat him like my son? That's the key. So I would like to bring everybody under this thought process is what can we do to train, and not that once in a 5-year training, not a tick box training to do and get your certification. We need a continual onboard training, like we have onboard kind of assessments for your professional growth. I think every company should make it mandatory. Somebody should work, we should have psychologists work on this. Bite-sized learning, please. I've been doing this, I'll know before, I think many of you would know it. They train you against cybercrime and how to identify phishing attacks and stuff. 5 minutes is all it takes every month to remind me, to refresh me of what to do and what not to do. Trust me, I think any organization who's using KnowBe4 would have definitely reduced the number of cases of cyber attack. Something like that. So we have to look at something simple, something repetitive, something very basic, something that a master and a trainee seaman can understand. And it's not just about women. I would still like to keep it gender neutral. The DG statistics show that in the last 10 years, we've had more than 100 suicides on board. That's pathetic. And I can tell you, if there was a way to communicate with that soul, he would only tell me, I did not feel respected. You know, that can be really devastating. We all have kids at home. We know how they feel. I mean, 15 years back when we were in school, getting caned was normal. Today, if my child's teacher even touches him or her, I'll drag that guy to court. Times have changed. If it's changed in my house, it should change in my workplace. That's my only request.
Thank you, but I think the collaboration part we will talk with Masa. That part I'll definitely take care later on. In the interest of time, Dipti, quickly to you. One, as a professional trainer, one improvement that you would suggest to enhance inclusivity of maritime training programs. Sorry for just one because of the time.
So I think improvement, well, since morning, like we have so many companies here and we've been talking, I think the next seminar or whatever we all do, I think whoever does it, whether it is Shaukat, whether it is Sir, you want, I think every company has certain best practices and we are hearing about it. Everyone here on the days has come and spoken that our company is doing this, our company is doing this, our company. Why can't it be collaborative? Why can't every company come in a round table conference and put up their best practices? See what has worked for them and try to imbibe it in your company. If you're talking about shipping industry as being one unit, I think that is what it is. Every conference we hear a lot of things, and we are all charged up on that day, you know. The next 2-3 days we are all talking about it and then it's gone. So why not have a conference where companies come up with their best practices? Why should it be a panel discussion? Why can't it be something where everybody sits in one room, brainstorms, presents papers, and say this is what has worked for our Indian seafarers? And then bring in some action plan, implement it. See, the problem is we don't have data. Till you have data, and most of the data comes from abroad. Today you Google and see. If you want data on mental health, if you want data on anything, you will get data from some ABC other countries, but not India. Why? Because there's a lack of collaboration. So what you are asking me is that one thing which to improve, two aspects to it. One, if you look at the grassroots level, it should start right from the education system, training system, but also who are going to come to the training, like Manish sir said, right? When you're bringing in people, if it's starting at my home, today how many of us here will tell our children, okay, go join seafaring? How many seafarers will tell their children to join seafaring? So you will be able to count them on your fingers. They are not aware. So awareness about the profession. Second, I think we should stop with sob stories. You know, everybody becoming too critical about the profession, that should stop. And especially on social media. It's such a powerful force today. Why can't we have positive stories? Agreed, there is problem. But if you want to attract the youth, they want to see what will they get out of this profession. Yes, every profession has its pros and cons. It's not only shipping. Doesn't harassment happen at corporate offices? Tell me. All of you, so many of you are from Showstar. Doesn't it happen? Doesn't it happen in aviation? Who's saying, why only shipping? So another change which I feel should come is, there are young girls. Today I was hearing, Banu was here, Amreen was there, Humaira is there, Saleha is there. There are so many other young people who have done exceptionally well for themselves in the industry. They should go to schools and colleges and talk about positives and how they have reached that level. So I think the sob story should stop. Another thing in training institutes, when I interact with, I'm sorry I'm taking 1 minute more, but this is important. So when I speak to the cadets, that why have you chosen seafaring as this profession? Most of the time, because I do the wellness at sea program with them and they become the rapport develops, most of them say it was our second option. It was not our first. We tried NDA, nahi hua ma'am, kuch to karna tha, so we just took it up. But when I asked the girl, few girls in the room, why did you choose? Ma'am, I wanted to do something different. I'm passionate about it. I wanted to just, prove myself. And that is a different passion. The girls who come in this profession, I have nothing against the other men, please. There would be men who come through passion. But Why am I highlighting? Because like I said, the visibility of girls is little less in the industry, but it is gaining momentum. So when it's gaining momentum, we should talk about that rather than only talking about the problems. Because the more we discuss only problems, the more they will shy away from taking up this profession. So we have to understand there are problems, but the problems are there in every profession. You need to train them to become how to handle yourself and how to handle the problem. And not just saying that there is a problem, so you think about it. You want to come or you don't want to come. It should not be that way. And lastly, the seniors of the industry, the mentors, you have to say a positive thing about the profession so that they get that vibe from you rather than saying, I've heard, sorry to say, but I've heard some professors and also say, क्यों आए हो इंडस्ट्री में और कुछ नहीं मिला करने के लिए? Why are you getting into? कितना tough है? Now, imagine as a lecturer, you are telling that to your cadets. What are you, showing them as? So they've already chosen it. Then show them the way. That is, if it is cut out for them, they will sustain. If they don't cut out for them, they're going to go back. So I think that is the thing. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I know there's so much to talk about. Thank you so much. And there's so much to add to this topic, but I'll open the floor for Q&A, and the question will be for Nyari then, so that we can use that time. Maybe I think Aishwarya, who from MMSI, who wanted to ask, so maybe Nyari can then take your question. That way we will also cover.
Good evening, everyone. I'm from MMSI, and I'm really thankful to Ma'am Salaya Ma'am and Captain Sir. So we are here to, interact with each other and gain knowledge about the environment in the shipping industry. So my question for Nyari Ma'am was, what would be your take on enhancing leadership for women, as a lot of women are already at the management level, are already sailing at management level, and how is the male counterparts made aware to work under women leadership? So
I think, first of all, if we are to just focus on how the junior women seafarers should rise up to the management level, I would say I have a lot of respect to the gender sensitization and, trainings that are given to the institute. But there's only one thing that works on board, is that you are your backup. On the ship, you are your backup. I had a chief engineer who was 60 years old and he hated my guts. I wrote a book about him. You have to turn agony into success, Success will come with a lot of trade-offs. A lot of times sensitization means that, making it so conducive. It will not happen. There are certain needs of the trade. For example, I have opened purifier bowl rings even on the second days of my periods. I have to do. What if my ship was sinking? So women really need to work on their core. If you're strong in your core, men don't have a problem with that. I feel that men actually value competence a lot. So if you know your job, if you can make people feel human beings, if you will value them, if you respect them, you don't have to do anything out of the box to make them come under your umbrella of leadership. See, it's just so simple. At the end of the day, everyone knows who's the in charge. So very simple.
Thank you so much, Nyari, for this. Any other questions from the audience for our panelists? I know everybody's waiting for this session to get over, and so that they can have their tea. But no, it's a fact. It's been a long day for everyone.
Are we that boring?
I'm sure not. And but
maybe we can get the tea inside and we continue.
No, but I think. No, I think definitely we'll continue the Chai Pe Charcha. But just to conclude, firstly, I would like to thank our panelists for taking the time out and having this engaging conversation. Saleha, Captain Pradhan, Captain Shaukat. We've spoken a lot about change in mindset. It's not a one-time task. It's a long journey. While we all continue to strengthen our process to make training robust so that we can have an organic shift in seafarers' mindset, I urge you all to be the advocate for this change. We all are the brand ambassador for inclusivity on board as well as Assure. The publicity, what we do individually when we talk, everybody's listening. So let's not wait for a panel discussion or a conference, but use your daily interactions to promote this awesome industry. And today, only the bold and courageous women or other seafarers, okay, bold and courageous seafarers are applying. Let us make this profession top 5 so that the students, when they pass out 12th, they will choose something Merchant Navy because it's amongst the top 5. Thank you so much.